Thank you for joining us today for our Rising Senior webinar for HomeLife Academy. My name is Rebecca and I'm a senior counselor who works with our graduating seniors. Joining me today is Lacey, Kim, and Tina, and they're also academic counselors who work with our graduating seniors all across the country and all over the globe. Today we'd like to speak with you about services that HomeLife Academy provides to our graduating seniors.
So on behalf of HLA, first of all, congratulations on this upcoming year, the milestone of senior year. It's a big year for our seniors, and we want to make sure that you feel equipped along the way and not overwhelmed with all of the senior to-do lists. So that's why we're doing this now. If you got a rising senior, it gives you some time to kind of just ask questions, contact us if you need to speak to someone, and then look over your rising senior review. So during the spring semester of their 11th grade year, we work hard on looking at their account, making sure that credits are in and grades are in and all of the course titles are in as you want them, so that we can prepare their transcripts. So if you're going to start requesting transcripts for college applications or dual enrollment purposes, things like that, we want to be sure that you feel like that you have a counselor that can look over it and make sure everything is perfect for that, so that you can get a transcript sent out to your colleges in a timely manner.
So this year you may notice something that's a little different. Some of your accounts in the transcript may have some needs review tags. That's something new, a new tool that we have this year that we've been working on. And so that's one of the first things to look at when you're looking at the transcript review, your rising senior review, is just see at the top, are there any needs review tags? Because that can just be a signal to you that a counselor has noticed something about your transcript.
Our new, like Kim mentioned, we have a new back office, a new transcript review system where we can have a dialogue with you. There's a discuss option there, so if you see one of those needs review tags, you can click a discuss button, and that will prompt a discussion with us. So we will be able to help kind of guide you through any kind of questions that you have about that, and hopefully get those corrections made before a transcript is requested.
So the needs review tag is a great way to start a conversation with the counselor without having to pick up the phone. So when you click that discuss tab, you can put your questions or concerns in. That'll be sent directly to the counselor who created that review, and then they will communicate back with you through that same means. But if you see the needs review tag and the counselor has suggested an update and you're happy to make that update, you can just adjust the course or the credit value or whatever it is that the counselor noted, and then you can just click updated, and that'll resolve the issue, and that will be communicated again directly to the counselor who created that needs review tag. So we hope this is a really efficient and effective way for us to communicate to our families questions or concerns that we see when we look at your students' Applecore records.
As far as timing on the review and timing as far as when to start asking for your transcripts to be sent out for senior year, oftentimes that's pretty early in the fall semester, and so that's why we're trying to work this year to equip you guys with that information ahead of your senior year.
Another exciting thing that a lot of seniors participate in is dual enrollment. Lacey is kind of our resident dual enrollment expert here, so I'm going to defer to her so she could talk about the process of dual enrollment for seniors.
So many times our students use the opportunity of dual enrollment to complete some high school credit requirements, as well as getting a jump start on earning some college credit. And so junior, senior year is a great time to take advantage of dual enrollment, and we can send those transcripts directly to the college when you're in the process of applying for the dual enrollment programs at those colleges. You can go into your Applecore account and you can hit create request, and that will generate a transcript request where we can send it directly to the colleges for the purpose of dual enrollment.
So we've talked a lot about transcripts, but Kim, can you tell us how you actually create a transcript request in Applecore?
Certainly. So when you log into your account, instead of clicking on the apple where you usually go into enter grades, above that there's a section of your account called
Create a request.
And when you click on that, part of the drop down menu, one of the options is a transcript request. And in that box, the comment box, you can list the student you want it for. Some families have more than one student. And then you can also put in where you want the transcript sent. And sometimes there is an email address specifically on the college wants it sent to, or sometimes families want it sent to them and then they forward it on. And so you can include that information right there in that box.
And many times scholarship applications are going on in the first part of the senior year. And so Rebecca, can you talk a little bit about timing on scholarship applications?
Absolutely. So the senior year is a really busy time for applications of all sorts, from college to scholarship applications. In addition to providing transcripts for our seniors, we also provide recommendation letters for our students. And so those recommendation letters can be used for either college or scholarship applications. Now, college applications typically open around August the 1st. It can vary from college to college, so be sure to check with the colleges that the student is interested in attending to make sure that you and your student understand their admission requirements, their deadlines, and their particular processes for applying for regular college admission and also for financial aid and housing, because some colleges combine all those processes together and other colleges, they're separate processes. So just make sure that you communicate with the admissions office at the colleges that your student's interested in to make sure that you and your student understand all of the ins and outs of those schools' processes. For recommendation letters, this is something that we are always happy to provide for students. If your student needs a recommendation letter in support of a college or a scholarship application, you can again log into your MyHLA portal, click on Create a Request, and one of the options is a recommendation letter. And in that little box, be sure to list what student you need it for and why you need it, if it's for a college or a scholarship application. I will reach out to you after I receive that request, providing just some guidance on information that I love to receive that allows me to write a personalized counselor recommendation letter for your student. My goal, as always, for those letters to really reflect your students' personal passions, their pursuits, their collegiate and post-collegiate goals, and just try to give insight into your student that'll help them shine for their college and scholarship applications. Now, another part of the senior year for some schools or for some students is taking the ACT or the SAT. Again, check with the colleges that you're interested in to see if this is a requirement or a preference for that college for their admission purposes. If your student has not already taken the ACT and any of the colleges that they're interested in has a preference, that they want to see those scores, we encourage you to sign up for your students to take that test as soon as they can in their senior year. Some students require a couple of times to really get the process down and feel like they have a strong score that really reflects their personal academic strengths. So again, try to schedule that as soon as you can in their senior year if they haven't already taken it.
So if your student is interested in applying to a military academy, first of all, I would say plan early. That's important. So I would also say check the Military Academy's website. There's some really great information, guidelines as far as a timeline, and then all that's needed. And then along the way, we're glad to help. Usually, of course, you're going to need a transcript, so we're glad to help with that, and any other forms will be there with you, so you can email me for that. Also, if your student is interested in military enlistment, so there are a couple of things that you want to keep in mind with that. After your student has talked to a recruiter, I would say check Applecore, make sure that everything is updated, because they will need a transcript at some point. So you can also reach out to us for that. I'll be glad to take care of that and any other forms that the recruiter needs. One note about Applecore, and this applies to not only military enlistment or military academy, is to make sure that the curriculum and resource information is up to date. We have had a trend where we're needing to add that to the transcript for scholarships or for military. So that will save some time to have that already updated, and we'll be able to get that out quickly for you.
You know, something that we haven't mentioned so far, but I do think it is important to remind our families, is whenever your student is filling out any kind of college or scholarship application, even for dual enrollment, make sure they list HomeLife Academy as their high school, and if they need to list a counselor, they're welcome to list my name. My name is Rebecca Sardella, and you're welcome to list my name as their counselor. And what that does is that just allows HomeLife Academy to provide support for those applications, such as transcripts or recommendations. Some students like to have extra time, or they want less time in high school. So let's talk about a 3-year plan versus maybe a student who's looking to have a super senior year or a 5th year in high school.
So one of our core values at HomeLife Academy is flexibility, and so we want to honor that with whatever that looks like in your family during the high school years. That's why we have the option of a 3-year plan to graduate, or a 5th year, or sometimes you've heard it called a super senior year. And so we've seen great success with either of those options. You know your student best, and so we trust you as the parent to make that decision. We just ask that you help us to be able to note that and document that, so that we can get the Applecore set up so that it reflects either a 3-year or a 5-year plan. And Tina works a lot with those paths, and so she can give some extra detail and insight on what that looks like for a 3-year or 5-year plan.
Well, one thing with the 3-year plan is you want to make sure that your student has completed 3 full fall semesters and 3 full spring semesters. And so, as Lacey said, it's good for us to know that. We can get that Rising Senior Review out to you early and help you plan if needed. So always feel free to reach out on that. As far as a 5-year plan too, I would say that that can be a great opportunity for students, but not for all students. Just like a 3-year plan is not the best option. An example for that is my daughter. She did a 5-year plan. It worked out perfect. She did some job training, some mentorship, and then after that she knew exactly which direction she was wanting to go to. But at the same time, that 5-year plan would have been detrimental to my other children. That would have held them back when they were ready. So just keep that in mind when you're making decisions, and of course reach out to us if you have any questions.
And we also provide specialty services for states that have unique circumstances and unique scholarship opportunities, such as the state of Florida. So Kim, why don't you talk about that?
Yes, I am blessed to be able to work with our Florida families that are interested in bright futures. And a lot of people are asking around this time of year, what do I do for bright futures? And so the good news is the application doesn't open until October, so you do have some time, but there are some key things you can be doing now and throughout the summer and then to the fall to prepare your student for bright futures. There's the main part is test scores, and they change just a little bit every year. So the first thing to do is really look to see what the current year's Bright Future score is, to see if your student has that score yet. If not, you still have plenty of time to have them retake the SAT, the ACT, and Florida also does accept the CLT. Those all 3 are options. It's also a great time to be making sure that they've got their 100 volunteer hours and to make sure that they have the correct courses and grades, GPA for that. And I'm always happy to help any of our Florida families that are looking towards applying for that scholarship.
And a lot of what we talked about today has been focused on college or military enlistment, but we fully understand that not every student who graduates from HomeLife Academy wants to or is planning to go to college. Maybe you have a student who is an entrepreneur in their own right and they own a successful business and they want to continue those endeavors. And so, if you have not already done so for your student, be sure to go into Applecore and pick a path. So our typical paths are College 4, College 2 TM, which is Trades and Military, and Life Choice. And so what those do is they help us as counselors provide counsel and guidance to our families in terms of coursework that might be preferred for those paths, especially for college-bound students. But it also can help us provide insight. If you're struggling with finding a needed credit for your senior who's done math and they're done with math, we can help a Life Choice family create a course title that is accurately reflecting the math that their student is doing in life. So if you haven't already done so, please be sure to go into your student's account and pick a path in Applecore. And that just helps everybody. It helps all of us look at your account with that lens on, so we can provide guidance that's really tailored for your student and their goals and their circumstances, because we all want your kids to succeed. That is our goal in all that we do, for sure.
And so speaking about different paths, I can kind of relate to that. two of us have rising seniors ourselves, so next year, so we're planning our senior year for our student. And like as Rebecca mentioned, my student is not going to be on the university path, and so I'm looking through the lens of planning some intentional courses with him his senior year that's going to help prepare him for what his next step is and after high school life. And so I'm looking at some practical math options. He's very much into his running a marketplace flipping business and keeping track of inventory and sales and profit and things like that. And so I'm trying to take off my counselor hat of checking every box and making sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and just trying to really plan a senior year for him that's going to be fruitful and enjoyable and useful to him. And so I'm glad you mentioned the paths, because we want to honor that. No two children are the same. No students are the same. I've got 3 boys, and they're also very different. And so again, one of the reasons why we homeschool is for freedom and flexibility. And so please know that that we enjoy talking with families who are thinking out of the box and creatively in those kind of ways.
And the senior year is a great time. It can be a really stressful time, but it can also be a really wonderful time of bonding with your student. My daughter graduated a couple of years ago now, and she is our only, so I had one shot at homeschooling her, and we were blessed to have that journey. And so as her senior year approached and we walked through that with her, it was an incredibly bittersweet time, right? And so we just encourage you as a team, as moms, as homeschool moms, to really embrace this season of taking the time to take time with your student. Embrace those 11 p.m. conversations when they come into you at night when you're trying to wind down from your day. And don't focus so much on all of the deadlines that are looming, but focus more on building and maintaining that relationship with your students, because that's going to last much longer than this season of senior year. And senioritis is real. Even homeschoolers catch it. So don't let that be a discouragement to you. I know those who have many kids have experienced that over the years of dealing with senioritis with their kids.
Yes, that's true. So this year I'm going to be graduating my 5th and last homeschool student. So a 20-year season is going to be coming to the end for our family. And I really want to encourage you to not just focus on the academic, to really just value the time that you have with them, talk to them about their hopes and their dreams and how they feel celebrated. Each child is different. And I also want to encourage you to take time to celebrate you as the homeschool mom or dad or maybe even grandparents. It's a big accomplishment, and we're really proud of you and so thankful that we get to be on this journey with you.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that. And my first one was a couple years ago. I graduated my firstborn. I've learned a lot since I've graduated him, and maybe can reflect a little bit on that and my other 2 children that I've got coming up through graduation. So being intentional with your time with them, and just teaching them practical things. Things that once my firstborn moved out, I was like, oh, I totally forgot to teach him about how to make a doctor's appointment or file insurance or things like that. And so we've got like health and personal finance listed on the transcript, and oftentimes those are things like you're like check, but those are very valuable things to teach. And with homeschooling, you have extra time to kind of really dive into those important subjects. So I'm saying don't overlook those classes and credits and teachable moments, because that's what's going to carry them into their adulthood and carry them into being able to be a well-rounded and responsible adult. So.
Yes, it's a different season, but it can be just as meaningful as any of the other steps along the way. So just enjoy that time, just like what everyone has already said, that it is a year of deadlines. There are some deadlines, but put those on your calendar and take care of those. Get that off your mind and just enjoy the time and just developing that relationship, because that will last, like we've said, and so that can be a beautiful thing. So congratulations though to you and your graduate. We're so proud of you.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And thank you for joining us today. We will post more webinars as we go throughout the senior year that will be relevant to that season. of the trends that we see in particular seasons of the senior year. But in the meantime, if you ever have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to any of our counseling team at HomeLife Academy. We're here to serve you and your students to set both of you up for success. God bless.